Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Okay, so of course we understand the Los Angeles Lakers are struggling right now, but they still got basketball to play, and there will be a game this evening at the Crow against the Clippers. Um, so basically, my whole thing about the Clippers tonight is they just beat us twice in a row, two different teams basically, before the trade that they made for Norman Powell and after the trade as well. And real quick span, we're playing this team three times in a row, and really, they've enjoyed stomping us out each and every time. It hasn't been very difficult. Now, granted, we did have a close one against them last time, but um, ultimately we couldn't get it done. We were just not able to display our best, and because of it, as usual, we lose. So we're gonna have a chance to redeem ourselves against our heated rival, LA rival, so to speak, and I'm not expecting much more of a difference in regards to the result because we still have the same issues, and they're going to be able to attack those issues. Zubats has been playing very well on the inside, so that means small ball isn't necessarily going to be something you want to do. Him and Hardenstein both hold down that position, or Hardenstein rather, and you just have to understand that this is not a small team, even though they don't have a superstar on the floor right now. They do have a bunch of key players playing great. Reggie Jackson is playing some of the best ball of his career right now. Got to be ready for that. Terrence Mann is a player who's starting to pick up his style, his play in this second half of the season. Amir Coffey's a guy who was hot against us last time. Nicholas Batum is always somebody who can help them. They have a lot of weapons in key places that you have to account for. It's not just a team full of guys who are just not going to be able to do it just because they don't have those stars. Not at all. I always tell you, the Clippers, even without their stars, are a much better team than we are right now. Yeah, I have no problem telling people that. And so because of it, you just expect that we're going to have our struggles. And as we always mention, Ty Lue is one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in basketball today, and he's going to make adjustments where he sees fit, and the team is going to try to run through a brick wall for him, as they always do. So keep your eye open for the Clippers, but also keep an eye open for the Lakers, in a sense that we've had some players who started to do some things a little differently. THT's shot is starting to fall a little more so, even though his game and decision making and things of that nature haven't really necessarily been there. What we're seeing is the shots falling. Another thing that we've noticed over the last several games is that even though Russell Westbrook's efficiency has not been good, he hasn't turned the ball over recently. So these are different things that you can take a look at and say, all right, we're seeing some progress. Also, we picked up, of course, some brand new guys that we're going to be welcoming into the fold. I believe they'll get some playing time. Didn't see them on the injury report or anything like that. So DJ Augustin and Wenyen Gabriel, of whom I think both can provide some nice scoring punch for our team off the bench if used correctly. Now, as far as DJ Augustin's concerned, I do believe that he's going to be taking some minutes from Russell Westbrook. He gives us a definitive, real, actual point guard, for which is another thing that kind of low key we didn't have. Since letting go of Rondo, we didn't really have a backup point guard, but now we do. He can stretch the floor. He can really shoot the ball, and I like the player. I've always wanted him on the Lakers. If he can be who he's always been, I think he could be a player we can retain for next season as well, regardless of what this team looks like, at maybe a discount. So he's a guy that I bashed the signing because I felt like his roster spot should be going to someone else. But when you consider the fact of who you want your 12th man to be next year, who you think you can slide in and re-sign real quick and feel confident about, he's probably one of those names I'd be like, all right, let's have him. So if you want to build properly, at the end of the day, whether you're going to have a team with LeBron James being led by it or a team full of youngsters that you don't have expectations for, whatever the plan forward will be, if DJ Augustin is good and still ready to go, he's somebody I'd like on either one of those teams. So if you look at it like that, it's a solid signing, basically. But if he can't help us and you don't intend on keeping him, then I don't really see the upside in signing him, and that should be going to some youngster who can give you a lot of minutes. So I just want to see the Lakers jump into the youth movement for the next 20 games. Wenyen Gabriel gives me some hope that they might have some understanding of that. That's a good thing to do for themselves, but I honestly don't know. So Avery Bradley is questionable tonight. I know he's been out for our last couple games. That's important because we've seen young players struggle in his absence. And I think that might lend itself to Frank Vogel maybe wanting to play Avery Bradley once again when he comes back at those same number levels of 22 minutes, 26 minutes, or even 30 minutes a game. So that's a big concern for me, because I really, really, really understand the importance of what I just said, of course, playing young players. And most of our young players play his position. So I think it would be in our best interest to waive him so that we can give those kids those minutes full time. Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, THT. Those only guys should be playing shooting guard for the Lakers right now. And, as they've been struggling, those kids, I just feel like there's a good chance that Frank, who leans on veterans naturally, even though he doesn't, Dwight, for some reason, probably will go back to playing those guys the bulk of the minutes. So that's what I want to say there. Very concerned about that. Hopefully he's still out, though I hope he's getting healthy. I just want the Lakers to do what they need to do to put those kids in positions to get the minutes. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. As far as Wenyen Gabriel, Stanley Johnson's coming off a really good game. He hit 3 threes in the first half, so you can clearly see where he's continuing to put in the work and continuing to gain confidence in himself and his game out here. And he's another one of those guys like DJ Augustin, where you could totally see the Lakers want to retain him regardless of what direction they go in building the team. So when you consider what that is actually about, we can see over the next 20 games that there may be some easygoing pieces we can keep that we can retain from this year that don't reflect the problems that we've had, especially those two players and then those young players as well. So yeah, as you can see, my mind is not ever on the game at hand. But as best I can tell you to keep an eye on Reggie Jackson, who's almost playing at an all-star level. He gives you a lot of points and a lot of assists on a regular basis these days. So definitely somebody I think is going to carve us up real nice tonight. Who else? There's something else I wanted to mention in regards to the Clippers. But yeah, cut and dry. I just don't expect to win, Small ball never works. They have a young team that's athletic, that's looking to push the ball. Athletic guys that are running around for their team as well. And, Boston and Coffee and man, you just understand that if you don't come with some foot speed against this team, they're probably going to run you out the gym. And that's what we've learned over the last several weeks. They have youngsters, and that's ultimately what it's about. So, I just don't think sluggish basketball, some of the sluggish stuff that these vets have shown us in these games that we've seen them, I just don't think that's going to work. Bron's going to have to bring it, He's going to shore up his turnovers, obviously. Get out of his mindset in regards to the fact that this team is a letdown for him personally, and just get back to what it is that he does and appreciating the fact that he's playing NBA basketball. Listen, for whatever this is worth, Bron's not long for the end of his career. Maybe next year, 10 years from now, who knows how long he actually wants to play. But the point is, when you're at this point, you can see the end very close. And so tonight's once again another opportunity for him to go back on the floor and play NBA basketball. And I think that for all players means a lot, but for the greatest player playing alive, it should mean more. And I think he's kind of gotten away from that after the All-Star break, coming back, putting on his uniform, seeing these circumstances and all of that. I don't know that he was in a space where he can effectively convince me that he was appreciating the moment and what it means to be an NBA basketball player in that situation. And I think that when you behave that way as the leader, or you give off that energy as the leader, and you have that type of cachet, it definitely trickles down to others. And I think that's something he needs to be very aware of. His body language, what comes out of his mouth. I don't believe we can win. Can we get better? No. I understand the strategy in saying things like that, but I grew up understanding that players, you almost get used to players lying about their circumstances because they have to keep the mindset that they can push forward, and that mindset translates into others believing in you. And I think with LeBron James being so great, these are skills and leadership traits that you want to see him have. You know what I mean? I used to listen to players when I was a kid growing up. They would always lie. Yeah, we believe we can win. Of course we can win. You knew damn well you couldn't win. You didn't have the players to win. But guess what? Them lying to themselves would trick them into winning some of those games when those great teams who were better than them came in with the wrong mindset. And that's why it was important to keep that mindset in sports and keep that upper hand on your opponent. Because even when your opponent is better than you, you might be mentally tougher than him. You know, you apply the right amount of pressure, he gonna fold, start doubting himself, and start bumbling over his own feet. A lot of them guys who were the best players in the world, they weren't as mentally tough. This is what we're talking about. And so what you want to see the leader of your team do is speak delusionally and to a degree about what the team can do and what it can accomplish with him leading it. And you just don't see that type of belief. And I think it's a problem for this squad, who really doesn't believe in itself to begin with. I think that ultimately it's taught me that I just really appreciated that Mamba mentality that Kobe provided. You know, and it's not something that we can duplicate or find elsewhere, but it is helping us understand what type of energy and what type of face we want for our as a representation for what it is that we're about as a Laker Nation. So I think that's what I've learned this season. It's not enough, respectfully speaking to the rest of the league, it's not enough to have LeBron James if he's not bringing the mentality of what it means to represent the Lakers. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm tripping because I know there's a bunch of teams who would give their arm and leg to have LeBron James on their team. I'm not losing my mind in that way. I'm just saying we're about something here that's unique to ourselves. And, you know, we could try to explain it to other people. They're not going to get it. But it's something like a cult. We really believe we're entitled to winning. And so if you don't come here like Kobe came here with the intention of doing that, making it happen, or Magic, to where you can make things happen effortlessly and others gravitated towards you, or Captain, to where not too many people are betting against you at all, and you had the most unstoppable move in the history of the sport. I mean, we have such incredible, extraordinary people who've played for us to now it's like they've taught us a certain level of mentality and have spoiled us. You know, in such a way that makes us believe that we're entitled to win. And so we do not celebrate small victories. You know, that's another thing that I must say. You know, LeBron saying, hey, we need to have this parade. I respect that he had won a championship for which didn't get that parade. But, you know, the mentality of us is like, brother, we don't do that here in Los Angeles. We don't celebrate moral victories or make ourselves feel better by celebrating something that ain't happening. Like, that's not necessarily the culture here. You know, it's not drink and be merry when we're not celebrating. When we've celebrated so many victories. What we do is obsess over winning. And when we win, then we celebrate because we've won. Celebrations are sacred here. You see what I'm saying? It's not just something you do, and it's certainly not something you piggyback off somebody else. You know? But I can understand in a different environment, when you're from somewhere else, where people interact a different way than what LA is about, which is basically tribalism all over the place, if you really look at the inner cities, then you understand that there's a certain level of peace that allows you to open your mind to be that way. But not when you LA, not when you Laker fans. No, man, we get offended when you start bringing up ideas about celebrating something that we suck out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kobe would never. You got to think how we were raised as Laker fans. You know, think about the Jimmy Kimmel Kobe moment. Like, we look at that type of behavior, that type of folly. Boy, let me give you something else. Dwight Howard, our very own Dwight, whom we've learned to love over time. But back when he played with Orlando, Bro, we knew he was food. You know why he was food? Not just to Kobe, but to the fans. Because at the beginning of the finals, you know what his energy was? Laughing, joking, high-fiving, all that. We had lived through watching Kobe lead. We knew what he was about. Kobe wasn't about to say nothing to nobody. This is the same guy who stood next to Chris Rock while Chris Rock was telling jokes, didn't even look in his direction, treated the man like he wasn't even there. That mentality we knew for a fact was going to overcome Orlando. We knew we had a beast on our side that was going to do everything in his power to demoralize Dwight Howard. Not only because he was the other opponent, but because he was laughing and having fun before a finals game that he took so seriously. That is who raised us. So you got to understand, we're like that. We respect that. We look for you to be that way. Kobe ain't about to celebrate no damn celebration championship from 2 years ago. He's going to be up at 3 in the morning working out, obsessing over how he can get better. That's who raised us. 18 years of that. Bro, we ain't about to be kind to nobody at all about nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the mentality. So I'm trying to get, hopefully Bron gets this message somehow. I'm trying to get him to understand why it's not working in LA. You know, it's not because we don't respect that you're the greatest player and we should appreciate you more. It's because we're just different, bro. We're like some other entity. And now that you're here, you kind of know that. But there's some things that you will have to still understand, even though that you're here, that still haven't quite connected, even after through a championship, you know? It's about how we are as a city first, you know? And how people are just in general. And then from there, that trickles into how we view this team and how we've grown with this team as a city, you know? So that's what it is. That's what I want to say to people. I want you guys to understand that Laker mentality and why we can, as a fan base, collectively say, yeah, we can let go of Bron and not panic or not feel like that's negative and still be cognizant of what it is we're letting go of if we were to. It's because we have a cockiness and an understanding that not only can we rebuild properly because we've done it a million times, but because we attracted LeBron. So if our house is in order, we can attract the next several 8, 9, 10 stars. Because at the end of the day, we're the Lakers. And we know it. Ain't nothing nobody can tell us. But they continue to because they're not going to stop talking about us. Do you see what I'm saying? With the Lakers. So that's what I wanted to say in this camera. Obviously, like I said, Clippers are farthest thing from my mind. I know the game is tonight. There's supposed to be a video about that, but nah. Let's get to the nitty gritty about the Lakers when you come to this channel. The nitty gritty is about understanding the mentality and putting people in place to deliver what it is that we demand. That's what it's about. And being that person when you get here, or not looking our way at all. And that goes for every single player, coach, GM. Please understand this mentality before you come here, because if you don't, you're not going to feel comfortable here. We're going to make sure of that. My name is BDL44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.